There are quite a few Toronto Raptors players having outstanding seasons, but equally, there are a few players having the opposite effect on the team. So in today's video, we want to give you 3 Toronto Raptors players who need to step up in the second half of this season. Let's get into it. What's going on, everybody? It's Jacob here with Amateur Hour Sports, back for another Toronto Raptors video. We do 4 of these videos every single week. So if you're a Toronto Raptors fan, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. Help us on the road to 9,000 subscribers and keep up to date with all that great content. And if you want to continue the support and you want more of myself, then make sure you're checking out our Twitch streams for our Raptors watch-alongs, as well as our Discord to continue the conversation, meet a great group of fans. But let's get into today's video. 3 Toronto Raptors players who need to step up in the second half of the season. This could be they need to step up to help out this Toronto Raptors team, or it could be they need to step up to maybe give themselves another year of their NBA career, because it's competitive out there. There are a lot of great players who just don't have a team in the NBA. So these people can be replaced if they don't find their form soon. And the Raptors, their starters this season have been absolutely outstanding. The bench definitely could use some work, and we're going to get into some players who could really be helping out our bench if they could find some consistency. So without further ado, let's get into the list of the 3 players who need to step up. And the first player on this list is Svi Myhailiuk. When the Raptors signed Svi Myhailiuk in the offseason, Raptors fans were pretty excited. We knew we needed some shooting. We knew we needed some floor spacing off of the bench, and Svi Myhailiuk seemed like a guy who could provide that. It was nice that we found out Svi Myhailiuk actually chose to play with the Raptors instead of signing with the Brooklyn Nets or the Los Angeles Lakers, 2 teams that we would have considered as championship contenders going into the season. He chose the Raptors. Maybe it was to get some more play time. Maybe it was to get that nice development that the Raptors are known for. And after a great second half of the season last year with the Oklahoma City Thunder, we thought we were getting a sharpshooter for this team, but he has been anything but sharp. In fact, quite dull from the perimeter this season. He's only shooting about 30% from 3. He statistically in his career, you can expect like 33-34% from him. That's not exceptional, but it's good enough to be that shooter off of the bench. And what we saw from preseason is that Suny Heilig isn't just a shooter. He's a guy who can also ball handle, get to the rim. He's got a crafty layup package, and that seemed like somebody we could really use for our team. But this season, he can't shoot. I mean, the bottom line is that he's not shooting well. And if he's not shooting well, then there's really no other part of the game that is opened up, because he is known for his shooting. He does that thing well enough that it lets him do other things, like get to the rim, like I mentioned, because you have to D up so much in him. You got to give him that respect from the outside. You got to go and play some defense. Opens up a little bit more space on the inside. But when he's on the court right now, you don't really need to go and contest him all that much, because you don't really need to think about him hitting that shot, because he just doesn't hit it consistently enough. And I mean, his decision making on a lot of occasions, like take a look at this picture right here. I've used it before. I'm going to use it again. 4 Raptors players wide open for an easy assist. Myhailiuk says, nah, I got this. Myhailiuk did not make the shot in that photo. And we always make a joke in Twitch streams when he plays. He's got that one absolute bonehead turnover every single game. I mean, not really right now, because he just isn't getting any play time because he doesn't deserve it. Second player on this list, and this is a player I really need to step up, not just for the team's sake, for his own personal sake, and that player is Malachi Flynn. If he's not sulking on the sidelines, then he's on the court and not hitting threes, not really affecting the offense anyway, and playing worse defense than we really expected. After winning Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month in April of last year, we were pretty excited about the possibility of Malachi Flynn's development into this season, because he had a rough start to his rookie season, but really started to find his feet near the end of last season. I get that we were tanking, but it seemed like he was somebody who could be that backup point guard that we needed this season to back up Fred VanVleet, and he has had all of the opportunities to do so. He has not seizing those opportunities. As much as Eric Flynn, Malachi Flynn's father, wants to complain about his playtime on Facebook, he just flat out doesn't deserve it. And I truly believe Nick Nurse has given him ample opportunities on the court. Not to mention that, like, if you're not getting a ton of play time, you probably don't deserve it, because the reality is teams practice multiple times a week. You're seeing the players, the coaches are seeing the players in practice multiple times a week. And if you're playing that well in practice, you're going to earn those minutes in actual game situations. No coach is going to watch a player tear up practice and then not use him in actual games. So if Malachi Flynn can't show us what he's made of when he gets into those NBA games, and he's clearly not showing it in practices, there's just no reason to actually play this guy. And the reason I'm so concerned about Malachi Flynn is because his own personal sake. I mean, the Raptors, they need some guard depth desperately. I think they made a mistake not acquiring some of that at the deadline, but they need guard depth. And Malachi Flynn right now is getting outplayed by a 46 overall pick in Delano Banton. I expect the Raptors to address the guard depth situation as well in the offseason, maybe sign a free agent, maybe trade for somebody who can be a backup point guard. And if Malachi Flynn doesn't step up, his job is going to be taken by somebody else. The Raptors may not have any use for him next season or the season after that, and only a second year in the NBA. I think we're prepared to call Malachi Flynn a bust as a 29th overall pick. I think I'm prepared to say he's a bust. I don't think he's going to live up to that first round pick status. You know, it was a late first round pick. I just don't see him living up to that first round status at all. And I just think he's going to struggle to keep himself relevant in the NBA. I think in a couple years or maybe even next year, we'll see him as like a third choice guard on New Orleans or Detroit and struggling to keep himself relevant in the league. He's got to find a way to get that three ball consistent enough that you have to respect it. He's got to find a way to affect the game more offensively. I get the Raptors don't run enough pick and rolls for him. He's a pick and roll player. If there's another team who is willing to give him that spot, then maybe he can thrive a little bit more. But based on what I've seen from Malachi Flynn this season and a lot of last season is that he's just not player good enough to affect NBA games consistently to get play time. And for that reason, he's really got to step up for his own sake, more importantly. But let's talk about the Raptors team who needs that guard depth. If Malachi Flynn can find that consistently showed at the end of last season, then he's going to help this team be even better. But let's get into the third and final player on this list. 3 Raptors players who need to step up in the second half of the season. Going with a little bit of a trend here. This one is Yuta Watanabe. Not a guard like the first 2 players on this list, but somebody who really could help us out with our floor spacing issues that we legitimately have with our second unit. The Raptors' first unit, not a ton of floor spacing. Obviously, you've got Fred and Gary Trent, but when we play against the zone, it seems like we really struggle. And the reason for that is maybe a lack of an outside threat, but we still actually are statistically pretty good against the zone because we have Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet as 2 of the best floor spacers in the entire league, plus all of the attention that Pascal Siakam draws when he is ball handling. That's why we can still make it work against a zone. But when we get to our bench, when Fred VanVleet's injured, when Gary Trent is injured, or they're just simply not on the floor, the zone absolutely crumbles our team because we do not have that floor spacing off of the bench when it's not Gary Trent or Fred VanVleet. Yuta Watanabe, who shot 40% from 3 last season, has regressed quite a bit in that category. In fact, not just has his 3-point percentage regressed, his offensive capabilities as a whole has really taken a 180. Last season, I noticed it getting better throughout the season. He was getting more aggressive, getting to the rim more often, maybe adding in a little bit of that short jump shot or floater just to make himself a little bit more useful on offense because we knew he had the defense last season. His defensive IQ was great. His versatility on defense and his work ethic on defense was great. And he had enough of an offensive game to warrant some playtime. This season, I feel like his defensive capabilities have maybe dropped a little bit, and the offensive capabilities have dropped a lot. Nick Nurse said in the offseason that Yuta Watanabe is a good shooter. We need him to be a scary shooter, one that you really have to go defend. And Watanabe is somebody that you really don't have to defend at all. You don't really need to give him that respect on the outside. And for that reason, he is really struggling for playtime recently. Again, because these guys don't affect the game enough to warrant playtime. For all 3 of the players on this list, yeah, they don't get enough playtime. If you were the coach of the Raptors vying for a playoff position, would you play any of these guys in a close game? I mean, probably not. The only one I would give some minutes to is maybe Malachi Flynn because Fred VanVleet needs a little bit of a break. He's like averaging almost 40 minutes per game. But other than that, they don't really give anything on the court that would warrant some extra play time. I get that Malachi Flynn could do more in more minutes, but like every time he's been given those minutes, it's just not good enough. The same goes for Yuta Watanabe, and the same goes for Suny Heilig. And as a result, our bench is the land of the giants. Boucher, Achua, Birch, and Thaddeus Young. If we need a 10th man, we're usually to go with Delano Banton, one of the tallest point guards in the entire NBA. So these three guys who can have a role, we need floor spacing desperately. If any of them wants to consistently provide that, they're going to see themselves in the regular rotation. But the fact of the matter is none of them are doing that. They all need to step up. Again, careers are on the line here. If they want to keep an NBA contract beyond next season, or for some cases the season after that, they're going to have to find a way to affect these games more, because what they're doing right now is not good enough and the Raptors need better. So what did you make of these three players? Was I too harsh on them, or do they really need to step up in the second half of the season? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, I appreciate it. Please give a like on the video to show your support. If I entertained you all the way through the video, then that definitely deserves a like. And make sure if you're new, you want to see more Raptors related YouTube videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're on a road to 9,000 subscribers. You can help the channel get there and give that extra little bit of support. It's completely free for you to do, but it does help me out a lot. You want to see more of me, you want to get more involved with amateur sports, check out our Twitch streams at twitch.tv/amateursports or the Discord. Both of the links are in the description. I'll see you again next time for another video.